Good evening. This is David Lynn, and you are watching Coffee Talk number 366. It is New Year's Eve, and we're coming to the end of 2024, and we're welcoming in 2025. Lot going on. Getting ready for a political transition, and lot happening in that regards. Greetings, my friend from Louisiana. Yes, Happy New Year, KP Heathen in the house. So, I hope you and your family have had a wonderful year, and I hope you're going to have a wonderful 2025. Alla Canada. Welcome, my friend from India. And it is morning over there. Happy New Year. Thank you for coming. So, we're going to talk about several things tonight. One thing I'd like to talk about is a comparison of 12-volt appliances versus standard 110 when it talks about AC versus DC power. And I'm going to explain to you, yes, God bless you too. God bless us all. We need it. And I'm going to explain why, for the standpoint of a grid down situation, it is much preferable to have 12-volt appliances and to be able to use 12-volt appliances from the standpoint of the amount of power that is required. And if you're using batteries, you want to reserve and retain as much power as you can. 12-volt appliances require a lot less power. Linda Powers. Welcome, Linda Powers. And Happy New Year to you. Good wishes for the new year to you and your family as well. I just stopped to say this. I hit the like button. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. God bless you. Hope you have a good upcoming year and enjoy the fireworks show tonight, because I'm sure there's going to be some fireworks at midnight. Take care. And if you haven't done so, please hit the like button. It'll be greatly appreciated. God bless us all. Thank you. And as I was saying, I'd like to talk about 12-volt appliances and DC power versus AC and 110 power. And why? Good evening, Utah Mike. It is much preferable in a grid down situation to have 12-volt appliances because they use a lot less power. And you don't have to have a pure sine inverter, which the inverter itself, when it's running, is going to be drawing power, not counting what it has to put out to power whatever 110 appliance you're trying to power. Yes, goodbye 2024. Hello 2025. Well, I think it will be. And I want people to understand. I want people to understand that in, ideal situations, I run my house. It's on the grid. The grid is functioning. It costs me 140, 150. We're in transition right now, so we're not really using the central heat that much. We're not using central air conditioning that much. So, my electric bill this last month was $137. And you can say, well, that's a lot of money. But yes and no. Yeah, it does seem like 2000 was just yesterday. And been some technological changes since 2000. Think about that. YouTube came out in 2005. Then we had the iPhone. Right now we've got the iPhone 16, and they come out with a new one every year. What does that mean? iPhones haven't been around that long. They came out after 2000. Feel free to drop your link. If you're not connected to Ala Caneda, please do so. Hello, Little Lone Prepper. And hello, Idaho Garden Girl. I had picked a topic this evening I think everybody will appreciate, and that is the difference between AC 110 volt versus DC 12 volt, and why I feel in a grid down situation DC is far preferable. And I will explain to you my thoughts on that. Please leave a like to support the channel. It will be greatly appreciated. Enrique Trevino, welcome, my friend, and Happy New Year. Oh, as I was saying, I keep starting over. We're going to talk about the difference between 12 volt versus AC, DC versus AC, and why DC is far superior in a grid down situation, in my opinion, for what it's worth. And I will explain to you my thoughts. Now, back in the days, actually before my time, when they were just coming out, technology has really blown up in the last 150 years. It's just really last 200 years or so. Technologists, we're going through the machine age, the industrial revolution. Just technology has blown up. So when they started figuring out how to use electricity, and remember Benjamin Franklin, the kite and the lightning. So the telegraph came out, and that basically revolutionized the ability to send messages over the telegraph wire, and they had substations, and you could communicate hundreds of miles away. And they started learning about the ability to use electricity. And early on, you had alternating current and direct current, AC and DC, competing with each other. And there were advocates for both. There were connect. If you're not connected to each other, connect, please. And everybody, we grow together. So they started figuring out ways to use electricity. It used to be in towns and cities, the main streets, they'd have light poles, and when it got dark, you'd have somebody going along lighting the lanterns. They'd have these big industrial heavy-duty lanterns that they would light after dark to give light. And then they'd certain time they'd put them out, and then they'd go through that every evening. They'd go through that process, and they'd have them on for a certain amount of time. So as they started learning how to harness and how to use electricity and different means to use electricity, and they started inventing certain things, to make life more convenient. One of the things was electric light, the light bulb and all that, and but they were looking at different ways to power stuff. And you had a lot of people who at that time, like Nikola Tesla, and he was experimenting with all sorts of, and he was real big on direct current. Now today, everybody has AC. Your homes, everything is wired for AC. Now, if you're out in the boonies and you've got solar or you've got wind, you got alternate power source, and you got a battery bank. Hello, retirement days. If you are out in the boonies, and let's say you've got a little cabin, or you've got a, you're out there on your own, and you're off the grid, so to speak, chances are you've got a 12-volt setup. Now, you can certainly have a battery bank. Now they're going over to lithium iron. Lithium's a lot better than the deep cycle AGMs. For one thing, you can drain it all the way down and recharge it, and it won't hurt it. Whereas with AGM, if you drain it beyond halfway, it'll start developing a memory, and you'll start losing the ability to fully charge it, and it'll damage it, and the life of the AGM batteries are not near as long. So AC in your home, there are some items that need a lot more power than other items. If you have all electric, then you'll be using 220, which is double 110. It's a lot more power for items like a water heater, a dryer, you dry your clothes, your central heat, your central air will run off of 220. If you have an electric range stove, it'll run off 220. And that's a lot more. The other thing is that if you are running let's say you've got a battery bank and you've got a pure sine inverter. Your solar setup, you got a solar setup or you got a wind setup, you've got your power coming in through your wires. You've got, fuses to protect against overloads. And it will run into a battery bank, or you have what you call like a generator, like solar battery generator. And it runs in, it fills the battery, charges the battery, and then when you want to discharge it, you're either going to be using 12 volt, because you get the generators now, the battery generators, and they'll have 110 and they'll have 12 volt. So they'll have an inverter in them. If it's a pretty good sized unit, the inverter will be able to run 1,000 watts, 1,200 watts, 1,500 watts, 2,000 watts, 3,000 watts, depending on how big and what the capacity of your generator is. And the bigger it is, the more it's going to cost. So you look at, well, what would I be running with it? Well, most people, that have them for backup, they want to be able to run their refrigerator. If they've got a freezer, they want to be able to run their freezer. So they got a fridge and they got a freezer and they want to power that. And those cycle on and off, and they use a lot of power. In a 24-hour period, you're talking about maybe a couple thousand watts, a couple of kilowatt hours. So depending on what sort of setup you have, the other thing is, usually when they kick in, they start out drawing a lot of watts and then they cycle down. And maybe they're drawing 250, 300 watts when they're running. And they don't run, they cycle on and off. So if you've got a setup and you have an inverter, pure sine inverter, that can handle that draw when it kicks in. It's like a coffee maker. When it kicks in, it's going to draw a hell of a lot of power. A Keurig or whatever. You're going to be drawing 1,200, 1,300 watts with one of those. And then as it works, it draws less and less power. And if, like, you make a pot of coffee or whatever, you got one that'll make a pot of coffee, keeping it hot won't be drawing that much power just to keep the pad on to keep it hot. But, you're talking about the need for, big batteries. So if you're buying, if you're buying these units, a lot of times it's like, okay, well, you buy a unit and it's got what you need, but that doesn't have near the battery capacity. So you can buy additional batteries made for the unit you can plug into it. So you can have 5, 6, 10 kilowatt hours of reserve power. But you're going to be paying thousands and thousands of dollars for that. Hello, Melinda Elliott. Welcome and Happy New Year. So spend a lot of money on, you know, you want a solar setup, solar power. You have your panels. You have your unit inside. Maybe you've got some additional batteries with it. And it will run 12 volt, and it'll also run AC. It'll run DC, it'll run AC. And then you're running AC through a pure sine inverter that's built in. Or you can have it set up with a battery bank, and you can have a separate pure sine inverter that you can turn on when you need it. And when it's on, whether it's drawing power or not, whether it's running something or not, it's still drawing power when it's on. So you're bleeding power out. Whereas with direct current DC, you're not drawing power when you're not running something. So if you're using, let's say you're using one of these compressor-driven refrigerator freezers, those little dual zones, something 50 quarts or whatever, 50 liters, and you're using it for, you're off-grid, or you're in an emergency situation, and you want to have your cold milk and your cold water and your cold sodas or juice, your butter, your cheese, whatever, you know, some eggs or whatever you want to put in there, some meat, and you're running one, that's not going to be drawing that much power. So I run a test on mine. I've got a couple of them. Real nice Bouge RVs, wheels, handles. I run them on 12 volt. And they draw very little power. They're not, 12 volt, you're not drawing a lot of power. 12 volt appliances are made to run with less than 100 watts. So when the things are running, they're using less than 100 watts. It's what they're designed to do. They run on very little power. In refrigerators, whether it's one running on AC or whether it's running on 12 volt or whatever, they cycle on and off. When they're off, they're not drawing power. Now, if you've got a AC inverter running, that inverter's running, whether it's drawing power to supply the refrigerator or freezer or whatever you're running on. If you got the inverter on, it's drawing power, and it's bleeding you power. Whereas 12 volt, when it's not actually running, it's not drawing power. And when it's running, it's drawing a lot less power. So my compressor-driven refrigerator freezers, they use 45, 50 watts at most when they're running. I keep them on set for economical. They're not, they're using very little power. In a period of 24 hours, I've measured them. You keep it set on about 30 degrees for the dual zones. Keeps your stuff nice and cold, doesn't freeze it because I don't use it as a freezer. You could use one side as a freezer and have ice cream or whatever. But it is going to be using a lot less power. So when it is drawing power, it's drawing less than 50 watts, as opposed to your refrigerator's probably drawing, and I'd have to check, but I'm sure it's drawing like 7 or 8 times as much power when the thing's running. It's running hard, trying to cool or whatever. So to me, being able to run a cook pot or a little stove, charging your phone, your pad, your computer, running some little lighting, running your refrigerator, your little dual zone refrigerator, running a kettle to boil water, all that, very little power is being used. Very little power. And therefore, your battery is going to go a lot further. So if I'm running a couple of 100 amp 12 volt, 12.8 volt batteries, that's going to give me 2,500 watts of power. And I could run a 12 volt refrigerator freezer for the better part of a week without having to recharge. If I'm not getting any sunlight or I'm not getting any wind or whatever, I could run for several days very easily without having to recharge. Whereas if you're running a inverter, pure sine inverter, AC, and you're trying to power a large refrigerator, you're going to probably be able to run it a day, 24 hours, 30 hours, and you need to be able to recharge. So that's my argument for why you want 12 volt. You want to be using 12 volt for off grid or in a grid down situation. If you look at campers, they're using 12 volt appliances. Now, your cooktop is probably using propane. Your heater is probably using propane. Your water heater, your heater for inside. Your if you're using air conditioning, it's probably running 110. Everything else is running 12 volt. All of your lighting, your fans, your refrigerator, everything's running off of 12 volt. Is there a 12 volt heater? Good question. I don't think you would run a heater on 12 volt. I really don't think you'd have a 12 volt heater because of the amount of power it would require. That's something I'd Google. Good idea to Google that. I will tell you, I've got 12 volt fans. We each have a 12 volt fan. When the thing's running, it's running at 25 watts. I've got a 12 volt kettle to boil water. I've got a 12 volt cook pot. A 12 volt cooker. I have 12 volt lighting. Very low voltage lighting that you can charge. Lanterns and radios that run off of very low power. But I don't think you would be using 12 volts for heaters, because heaters use a lot more power. Like these ACs, little portable AC heaters, they use a lot of power. Most of like the campers and such, you're either going to be using electricity or you're going to be running on propane when it comes to heating and air conditioning. AC will not be running on propane, it would be running on electricity. A heater could run on propane. Your cooktop is probably going to be running on propane. Yeah, you could probably be running a low watt electric blanket. Yes, Good idea, Utah Mike. So, the other thing is, that, truthfully, you got to be ready to be, the grid to be down for a week. You get a real bad storm, and it knocks out, messes up it'll really do some damage to the power grid in an area. And when Hurricane Harvey hit, it's been about 8 years. The only time, since I've been here for 20 years in Victoria, the only time we've had a bad storm like that. About 8 years ago, Hurricane Harvey came through, and we were without power for a week, and we did not have running water for about 3 days. I think they've probably taken care of the running water situation, because the city council said they were going to put in some generators for that. Okay. Yeah. Now, let me talk about I don't give this one out. I mean, I have this one. I'm going to show it to you, but I don't give it out. I don't send it to people. This is not the one I send to people. This one is a Sterno folding stove. I have used it. It's currently set up. So basically, you open it up. And you would put your canned heat in here like such. And you'd close it. And then you'd light it. And you would put like something like this, or a pot to boil water, a cup, bowls, steel to boil water, and you're heating it, and it takes 12-15 minutes for the water to boil. I wanted to show you this one. It's not really my preference. I use it once in a while. I prefer the Coggins, but I wanted to show you that one. 7 in the house, and 8 in the house, 10 likes. But I ordered some more of these, which I give out. They're easy to set up. They're not that expensive. I ordered some more of these, which I'll be giving out. And little emergency stoves that run on tabs. I've got some people that I'm going to be sending packages to. Devil Dog Prepper, my Marine friend, and Buying Space. She's gonna get an initial packet from me. I need to put them together. You could use them to keep warm. Basically, I'd say use them to boil water, to make coffee. You need to have the little sachets, packets, or you can get 2-in-1 or 3-in-1. You can order some, get 3-in-1 or 2-in-1, you know, coffee or tea, or boil water and put a tea bag in. And you want to reconstitute freeze-dried food, you need to boil water. So, and normally an initial packet that I would send to somebody, and I've been sending out some follow-up packets, like the one I sent to Little Lone Prepper that she should be getting, sorry to say, this weekend, probably Saturday. That's a follow-up packet. It's more components and such, some freeze-dried and some beverage components and different snack components and such. And I think I sent her some water purification tablets, a manual, can opener, bottle opener, stuff that you really need to have for emergencies and off-grid. Thing about MREs, you don't want to store them out in your garage. If your garage is subject to summer heat, 100 degrees out in the garage, your shelf life is basically not going to last long. You want to keep MREs below 80 degrees. So you keep them inside, out of direct light, sunlight, or whatever, climate controlled to a certain extent. The cooler you keep them, the longer they'll last. I've eaten MREs that are 10 years old, 12 years old, no problem. Okay. Yep. Number 10 cans. They're good. And you can also get the little packets that will, you put water in them, let them sit. You can reconstitute a meal, little meal packets and such. Those are good to have. And I mean, they taste good. Like I've got a lot of Mountain House, Ready Wise, Agassiz Farms. Mountain House is sort of like the Cadillac. And I've got a bunch of it. I mean, look over my shoulder. Those are right there. Those are Ready Wise. I've got 10 of those particular ones. Two different sets with different stuff in them. I've got 5 of this and 5 of this that I'd bought for like $40 a pail, you know, on sale 3 years ago. And they'll be good 20 years from now. But in an emergency, you need to have bottled water, clean water. Quickest way to get dysentery or really get yourself jacked up is to drink contaminated water, dirty water. That'll get you sick in a hurry. Can kill you. So having gallon jugs, having those 16.9 ounce, those half liters, having a 3-gallon or 5-gallon jug that you can access. You need to have enough water for at least a week. 2 24 packs. A 24 pack is easier to carry. Like I go to the store, I used to get the 40 packs. I get the 24 packs today, and I don't like carrying them. A 24 pack is probably about 25, 26 pounds. But if you want it for a week, for each individual, you need 24 packs for consumption. And you're going to pay about $3.50 for a 24 pack right now. Used to be the stuff was about 10 cents a bottle. It's up. Now it's about $3.50 for a 24 pack. Purified water, drinking water. Just the generic stuff. Then you're also going to want, I can hear my two dogs in the background. Hey, Black Widow. Happy New Year to you, young lady. And Mike Crusher. Well, Widow, if you, or Mike, if you want to listen to my discussion on 12-volt appliances as opposed to AC for off-grid, you probably want to go back and catch the first 20-25 minutes of my live stream. I talk a lot about that. Mike, did you get your latest loaded up? If you did, I'll try to go watch it. The other thing that really aggravates me, for whatever reason, for some of them, I can go and watch the whole thing, and when it gets to the end, it'll stay there, and I can go ahead and I can hit the little button that's the timestamp, and it'll let me hit the put timestamp in, and it'll timestamp to show that I'd watched the whole thing. Like with some others, like I went and I watched a couple of Melinda Elliott's videos today, and they were 3 or 4 minute videos, and it would run through, and then it would kick into something else, and if I hit the timestamp, I still was on the where I'd left my comment, but I was just waiting to hit the timestamp when it got to the end, and then it'd start over, and it'd say 11 seconds or 16 seconds or something other. And it's like, well, damnation, I worked the whole thing, and I wanted to timestamp it so she'd see, but if I don't actually, if I'm not right there when it gets close and timestamp it with my finger when it's getting close to the end, then it doesn't let me do it. It'll roll over into something else, and when I timestamp it, it'll just show 11 seconds, 16 seconds, or whatever. Then aggravated me. But I did watch the entire, those little short, those 3-4 minute videos. I watched 2 of them today, Melinda. One of them you were driving, or somebody was driving you. It was one of those road ones. Yeah. I'm not very good either. I've been doing that for Mike. And hey, Mike, I've been looking at people leaving comments. I'm the only one that's doing it. So you can say, you know that I watched the whole damn, the whole video. Well, God bless her. And I was so sorry to hear, I wasn't aware of this, that you'd lost a son, you'd lost a child. It's horrible. Parents should not outlive their children. Okay, well, I'll try to make sure I watch it. But it's horrible. I've got 2 daughters. I always worry about something happening. They drive, they're driving around, or they're going someplace, out of town. They drive like nuts. I worry about them getting in a wreck. Or they fly. I never fly. And something happens. If y'all are not connected to Alacaneda, please connect to Alacaneda's vlog. She will support you. You support her. Hey, Kaka, Tai, Tong, Hop. How you doing? Long time. Hope you're doing well. Please leave a like to support the channel. Everybody connect. 9 in the house. 13 likes. So, something else I will show you. And I've done videos on this a long time ago. Sitting here getting dust. This is an Espit solid fuel cook set. Neat little thing. Use it to make coffee. Heat and make coffee. So you put it, have it in your backpack or whatever. Open her up. Use this fuel tabs. And I will tell you, I've got Espit fuel tabs. They're a little more expensive than the Coggins, so I'll use the Coggins. Here is a cup with the top. Whoops. I need to wash it out. Here is my stove. So put a couple of fuel tabs, or an Espit fuel tab, or a Coggins fuel tab. Light it. I don't have it on even. Put the top on it. I could make soup. Basically use it to heat water to boil for coffee or tea. Yeah, percolators are good. I may do a little video. I've done it before. Do a video of my coffee. And these are not expensive. They're more expensive than some, because Espit's not a cheap brand, you know. But something like that would be just fine, small. And you're not going to be heating that much water. But you can make yourself a nice cup of coffee. Oh, heck. Get down there at the side so I can shut you. But for emergency situations or just playing around, go out camping or go out on a picnic, you can boil water with that. And I've got other ones, but I wanted to show you that one. I tend to use these cup, larger size. I can boil 20 ounces of water with this. Have myself a good 12-ounce cup of coffee. Hello, Mama Four Boys. Welcome. Happy New Year. So, wanted to show you that. Thank you for like number 15. Please leave a like to support the channel if you have not done so. I've had people trying to cheer me up, leaving comments about, oh, why are you down, or why are you upset? And I said, well, I'm upset about the fact that my channel lost like 35, 36 subscribers over 2 or 3 days. I got hit with like minus 15, minus 10, minus. So it got down to like 1795. I was sitting at 10 days ago or so. I was sitting at 1831. And then all of a sudden, next day, it's like the weekend my daughter got married. So from Saturday to Sunday, the next day, I'm sitting at 1815. I said, well, hell. And then I dropped down some more. And, you know, and I picked up 1 or 2. And then I got down to 1795, and right now I'm sitting at 1797. And no, I'm not planning on doing another 1,800 subscriber giveaway, because I've already been there and done that. But I will eventually. Thank you for the comment. Yes, these are nice items to have. Use them for camping and such, or just, you know, just out and about, or you don't want to use any electricity. You can just sit in your back porch. And I've done videos like that before. I really ought to do something where, you know, heating up a MRE, because you can boil, use a pretty good sized pot with water in it. You can basically boil to heat your mains. And it's been a while since I've done one of those videos, so I need to do that. Little Lone Prepper should be getting her follow-up box from me this weekend, probably Saturday, hopefully Friday, but probably Saturday. I'll be sending an initial box to Devil Dog Prepper, who's not here tonight. He's probably got something going on with the family. He was telling me they had to get together and had like 40 people over, family, you know. He's got grandkids now. So, and I don't think he's that old. I think I've got a few years on him, but I think he probably had kids when he was young, you know. Whereas I was like my mid-30s, early to mid-30s, when I had my kids, you know, my 2 daughters. Yeah, I've done the last MRE review I did, and I need to do a new one. I don't do that many. I haven't done that many. Last one I did had about 500 views, which you think, well, that's good, but I mean, most of the ones I did had over 1,000 views. You know, the most I've ever had was like I did one on pizza, the MRE pizza, 1,300 views. Most I've ever had. But yeah, I like doing those. I need to do one. I need to do a few, and then I need to do this is how you boil water, and this is how you put your stuff together. Maybe do it outside, or do it under a tree, or whatever. Well, yeah, you know, somebody was talking to me about, I was complimenting them. They got several thousand subscribers. I mean, twice what I have or more. And they're monetized, and they make, every couple of months they get a check for $100 or $125, whatever. And you think, well, that's money. Well, it is. But, you know, I teach. I'm retired. So my retirement check, my paycheck, you think what I would make on YouTube is anything? Nothing. This is a hobby. And I agree, Black Widow. Happy New Year to everybody. Yeah. Well, I'm monetized. We'll see how long it takes for me to get a $100 check, because they don't want to pay you until they owe you $100. I will be by Utah Mike. So I'll be doing try to get another video done of an initial to Devil Dog Prepper. This evening I was talking about early on, I was talking about 12-volt appliances versus 110, you know, AC versus DC. And the reason why I far prefer 12-volt for off-grid, for grid-down situations, draws a lot less power, takes a lot less power. It's not going to kill you. You touch it, touch the wires, 12 volt, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you. Whereas AC, oh, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it, and it can kill you. Well, I'm glad you're making money on your auction site. Listen, the stuff that you put out, Black Widow, you deserve to be monetized and making a lot of money. I don't know why they screw with you the way they do. I don't know why they screw with you the way they do. They screwed with me. I mean, they purged me on my subscribers, really hacked me off, you know, having that happen. They said, well, why are you depressed or why are you upset? I said, well, you know, I understand you lose one or two, you gain one or two, you lose one or two. Sometimes you lose a couple more than you gain, but like 36 over a period of 10, less than 10 days. And they hit me like in 3 different waves, like from Saturday to Sunday, dropped 15. I was at 1831, and the next day I wake up, I'm at 1816. And then they hit me, I'm down like 1803. I said, good Lord, gonna get down to, then I'm sitting at 1800, and the next thing you know, I'm at 1795, and now I'm sitting at 1797. But I mean, and it could be the algorithm. They say they're purging channels that aren't viewing you, or they're not active or whatever, on your content. I don't know. But to me, it's a load of manure. Well, like, I have a Rumble account. Some people say they like Rumble. Some people say they don't like Rumble. The thing about Rumble is that they don't tend to jack with you if you've got conservative content. If you want to put you got conservative opinions, you want to put up conservative content, they don't jack with you the way YouTube would. And I would think under the new administration, they're going to deal with them from the standpoint of jacking with people, free speech. Also, YouTube has got connections to the dark side of the force, like TikTok. We're going to see what happens with TikTok. There's legislation to shut them down in the U.S. in January. Trump seems to be wanting to intervene and see if he can negotiate something with them. I hear Trump's law to be able to pick a couple of Supreme Court justices. They're talking about Alito may retire this year or next year. Sotomayor's got real bad. Could you imagine if they could put up another conservative to get rid of Sotomayor, where there's only 2 liberals on the court? Well, and then you got the Chief Justice, who acts like a rhino from the standpoint of the way he votes. So the fact that you got 5 conservatives, you know, he may vote with them, he may not. He may vote with the damn liberals, but I mean, his vote doesn't really count if he's going to vote with the liberals, because it's still 5-4. Well, yeah, I've had people tell me that they've received notifications about the dangers of my content. Be wary of my content. You know, does it seem like my content is? Does it seem like my content's that bad? But they say watch out for, you know, the content. I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to every day this week while I'm off do a live stream. I used to do them every day, and then when my wife started, you know, she really had her bad health situation, September and just on for months. I hadn't been doing it, and then my, you know, getting sick and staying sick, I missed out on a lot, and I was trying to do them on weekends. But while I'm off, I'm trying to do one every day. So hopefully I'll be back. Yes, she got home safe. If you're talking about my daughter, they got home. Now she's sick. Gonna have to call Teledoc. She's had fever. It's like, oh crap. You know, bad for her job. I pray for her job. She's new job and she's missing a lot of work. Anyway, I plan on being back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Lord willing. When I get up in the morning, I thank God for the day. You don't know how many days you're going to have. I'm already 62 years old. So I thank God for the day. I drink my coffee, take my medication. I've got to reload my pill. You know, it's like, medications. I've got to do a reload. I say the Lord's Prayer. I drink my coffee with my medication. Contemplate the day. I appreciate everybody who supports me. I'm trying to give back. I've been leaving comments, watching videos, leaving likes and comments. If I go over to your video, believe me, I will leave you a comment and I will leave you a like. Oftentimes I tell you what like number I am. Yeah, I love meatloaf too. $25 this month. Well, that's good. They owe me right now a little over $20. A little less than $21 they owe me. Big money. Big money. Right. Okay. So I will plan on being back tomorrow for another edition of Coffee Talk. If you'd like to get to what I was talking about for the 12 volt versus AC, about the first 20-25 minutes of this live stream is what you want to watch if you came in late. I think you'll find it entertaining for, you know, the discussion and everything. And I will hopefully be back tomorrow. Happy New Year. And everybody have a blessed day. And, you know, we'll get back with you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. Bye-bye. Thank you.